Welcome to Beyond Marketing, the podcast. I'm Maira Genovese. I'm the founder and CEO of MG Empower Market Integrated Agency. Today, we're joined by Tatiana Alonso, a distinguished international lawyer and philanthropist with a truly global career. She was born and raised in Brazil and built her professional journey across São Paulo, New York, and London. After a successful career in international law, she transitioned into purpose-driven leadership. And today, she serves as a CEO of Gerando Falcões International, leading global efforts to mobilize resources and partnerships for long-term social impact in Brazil. Tati, welcome to Beyond Marketing, the podcast.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
We waited too long for
I
this moment
know.
to happen, right? And you are here now, and I'm so grateful, and I am very excited for our listeners to get to know you and all the incredible things that you have done and that you're already doing. But to start with, who is Tatiana Alonso?
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Tatiana Alonso is today a philanthropist that turned into a leader in the field of fundraising and does it with all her heart.
And I love that. And know you personally, I know that this is so true. And it's incredible to know you for so many years and see your work and impact that you have been doing since you start, moving your career from law to more social impact work. Tell us a little bit more about your career back in the days when you're in Brazil as a lawyer, and then how you have decided to change completely to focus your leadership and your skills into a more purpose-driven leadership.
I started my career in university. I did law school in Brazil and worked in a law firm for a long time there, 10 years. Went to the States, to Chicago and New York, worked and studied there too. Went back to Brazil and then changed a little bit what I was doing at the time. I did corporate law before, worked in football as well, and then came to London. Also went to university here. I think that law for me at that time was a safe space, and it gave me structure, it gave me credibility, it gave me a sense of the corporate world. But I always asked the question if what I was doing was enough or if it was changing things. I was always moved towards the philanthropy. All through my career, I worked some pro bono deals in the law firm, and after that, I volunteered to many NGOs around the world where I was, and that shift to philanthropy work was a seamless one after I was here in London for a long time. It seemed that I needed more purpose in my life.
And that's came from like any particular moment in your life that triggered you to go to that direction, an experience that you had that you thought maybe that's the direction I wanted to go. So how this actually become something that you like, wow, I'm gonna go to that direction?
I think there was not one thing. I think it was a conjunction of things. It was the time of my life. I think it was the moment I was living, the people that I was in contact with in London. I was helping several NGOs here, but nothing was related to Brazil. And after being here for 15 years at that time, I thought that I wanted to serve my country. I wanted to do something for Brazil. And at the same time, I had started to have contact with a lot of Brazilians that were in town and were doing work in projects in Brazil. And I think that inspired me to focus on Brazil and found one NGO here to work with different projects in Brazil, and then shifting after that to the project that I work with, Gerando Falcões International today. Also, the time of my life, I became a mother. I'm a mother of 3. Once I became a mother, I understood that success was not only delivering projects successfully, but was also doing them with a purpose and leaving a better world, a better space for our children. And that moved me as well towards the philanthropy more than the corporate world.
And how to transition from like law becoming a mother and go to philanthropy. So how do you navigate these three phases of your life?
I think that I was a lawyer and I didn't have kids at the time. So I dedicated 100% of my time to that, to study, to excel in what I was doing, to put all my efforts towards the firm that I was working with. And after that, when you become a mother, you do have to split your time. I'm a mother of three in a different country. I stopped for a few years and focused on the kids. And then when I decided to go back to work, one of the options was to go back to law. And then those questions came back. What I was doing was something meaningful. Was I doing it just for the pleasure of being successful and good and excelling in what I was doing? Or was I also leaving behind a legacy, a better world for my children? And those questions shifted my mentality towards doing a different kind of project.
And I love that. And I know how you are an incredible mother, very present. And then nowadays it's people don't understand, they underestimate the fact that for us as a woman to be a mother, but also to be successful or to work, and then be sure that 100% we're never going to be in everything, because that depends of the moment of your life. You're going to give a little bit more there instead of that. So how do you navigate and balance motherhood and work?
I can ask the same questions to you. How do you balance work and motherhood? I know. I think correct me if I'm wrong, if you feel the same way as me. Sometimes we feel like heroes and sometimes we feel like failures.
100%.
So there are days that you manage to balance the work time and the family time. And there are times that you feel like you're failing one and you're failing the other. But overall, I think that as our kids grow older, they start having their own lives, their own little lives. And when they see their mother working and excelling and doing something purposeful, they are proud and they understand and they help with the timings. I think that when they are very young and you have more than one child, etc., I think it's very difficult. And I struggled with that and I stopped working for a while. But as they grow, I think that the balance is possible with the help of family, with the help of staff, and also with the help of the children. They understand as they grow, they understand the importance of their mother being also a person and not only their mother.
And it's also, I think it set the tone for them to understand that, female and male, they both can work.
Yes.
And they both can be successful, not just one.
Yes,
or
I have
another.
boys and girls, and it's important for both of them to understand that mothers are also people. They are also professionals. They also have their own wishes and they want to accomplish things and they're capable. And not only take them for granted, and sometimes they do.
They do,
Yes.
Indeed. And then, again, being a woman, a mother, and then trying to succeed is not easy, but especially is more of a challenge when you navigate career path within a male-dominant environment. And then I'm assuming law is a very male-dominant environment, and then you have a lot of involvement with football as well, and then philanthropy. What do you see, how do you make your voice to be heard within such a male-dominated, as we discussed it before we started the podcast? How do you make your voice to be heard and for you to be seen and for your leadership to be taking in consideration for what you're bringing to the table? It's something that people will consider. So how do you navigate into that?
I think when I started as a lawyer, that was over 20 years ago. So I did corporate law and it was
very male dominant.
Yes, it was male dominant. There were very few women doing it. I started as a trainee, so I was in the bottom of the chain and it was difficult. But I think that posture and knowledge are important in the corporate world. and security in yourself, in what you're doing. I think that people respect you, men respect you when they see that you know what you're talking about, that you understand what they are talking about, and that you have things to aggregate. I think that the more you rise in your career and the more you pull other women to rise with you is very important. Women supporting other women in this environment is extremely important. And I did get help from women that were older than me in the law firm, etc. And they were my role models. And I think that they inspired me as well. And I think that this environment of having a mentor helping you out is important. Within the law, from corporate law to doing football, it was also a completely male dominant. I was the only woman in the boardroom. That was very challenging. And that in that environment, a hostile environment, I would say, you have to be tough. You have to say as it is and respond as you are asked, and not take anything home with you. If you are insulted, you stop right there. If you are harassed, you stop right there. And that happened many times. And you have to just put your limits. This is where I go to, and you don't pass this limit. And people start respecting that. They will call you tough. They will call you names. They will say that you are too manly, that you are this, that you are that. Doesn't matter. Do your job. You put yourself there.
So you're more like about speaking up rather than take it home.
Yes. In that hostile environment, yes. I think that you have to adapt to the environment that you are in.
And do you feel that this is still happening nowadays?
I think that is different now. I think that women are raising in different places that they weren't before. I think that our voices are more heard. It's not ideal. It's not even 50-50. It's far beyond.
From being, yeah.
Far from being there. But I think that we see more women as CEOs. We see more women as board members. We see more women in decision-making tables, etc. And I think it's changing.
I love the fact that you said that, like, when women raise, they need to bring all this with us.
I heard that from a very good friend of mine that is very high up in one bank. And she said to me, my goal in life is not to succeed in the bank. I've already done that. My goal in life is to see how many women I can make succeed with me.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I think that this is what we all have to do.
No, 100%, because it's not just about you in the end. It's just like, it's just getting your platform to actually how being there and how to use that platform to bring it more women with me. And then that's how I think there's going to be a chance for us to change the gender equality gap that we all talk about, the 50-50 that is far from being. But I think if we continue to that direction of using our voice, but empower other women to actually empower their voices too, I think is how we can see that we can make a change.
I completely agree. And you have a boy, I have 2 boys and a girl, and it's good for them to learn this from early age, because they will be the decision makers in the future. Remember, every man was raised by a woman. Every man has a mother, so it's from us that has to change. From us women, we need to change how we raise our kids for the world to change.
For the world to change, 100%. And then do you think that coming from a privilege and, shall I say, power? I'm not sure if you want it to be like a label as a power, but coming from a privilege and, let's say, power environment, and a lot of responsibility as well comes with privilege and be around powerful environment. How do you take the 3 to not let you to get your privilege or, your environment to move away from the responsibility that you have as a woman, as a CEO now from the international nonprofit organization in Brazil? Because sometimes we tend to see people with more privilege taking advantage from that to do things the way they want it to be. But knowing you're very, very different and far from being that person. But how did you learn to not let your upbringing or your privilege to dictate it how you would behave or being a leader?
I think that, well, first of all, I don't come from a privileged background. I worked myself up. I don't come from a rich family or anything like that. I was my mom and my dad were middle class, and I studied and I worked really hard to get where I was in a law firm. And yes, today is a different thing, but I think that that is the reason why I shifted towards philanthropy, because the privilege that I have now, it comes for me as a responsibility rather than a given thing. I see it as, if I have this privilege, I not only have to share, but I also have to make other people in my circle understand that they have to share too. And that's the responsibility. What can I do to contribute in changing things that are not done properly today? And I chose Gerando Falcões exactly for that, because Gerando Falcões, the projects that I see them doing in the slums of Brazil are long-lasting, impactful, scalable. I see the results and I see the real impact for a lot of people. And thinking about the privilege that I have and how I can influence other people. Exactly, influencing other people to help as well and make this as impactful and as distributable as possible.
And knowing you do that really, really well.
Thank you.
Tell us more, because not everyone that's listening us today that knows about Gerando Falcões. So talk us through what is Gerando Falcões and what Gerando Falcões is trying to change in Brazil, and what are the work that you're doing outside Brazil to support the purpose of Gerando Falcões?
Gerando Falcões is an NGO in Brazil that works in the favelas, in urban favelas, in urban slums, in communities, underprivileged communities in several cities in Brazil. They are present in every state and every one of the 26 states of Brazil. It has educated over 2,000 social leaders. These leaders went back to their smaller NGOs in the slums and are present in 5,000 slums in Brazil. Brazil has around 13,000 slums.
It's insane.
It's insane. So they are everywhere in the country. Brazil is a huge country, and Gerando Falcões has the capability of being present in all of these places. And what I like about Gerando Falcões is that they see poverty as a multifaceted problem. They don't target one issue of poverty. So they don't look at poverty only through the eyes of housing or education or mental health or each one of them. They look at poverty as a multifaceted problem that you have to attack, that you have to care. So their projects focus on all of them. They focus on education, they focus on housing, they focus on the physical transformation of the territory that they are working with. They also focus on the social emotional status of the families that live in that territory.
With the mental health.
With mental health, with physical health, and all these issues that influence the exit of poverty. Poverty is a very complex problem to solve. If you don't care for the person, there's no point of caring for the environment that the person lives. If you don't care for the environment, the person also cannot thrive. So you have to look at all of them together. And that's why I like to work with Gerando Falcões. And also this year is the 15th year. Gerando Falcões has been working with the favelas for 15 years. We are celebrating in 2026. And in these 15 years, they are able to show they're data-driven. They have scaled through all these cities and states in Brazil. They are audited, show their accounts, and it's a trustworthy project that I'm very proud to be part of, and that I can sell to other people, that I can use my influence to make other people join, because I trust this project itself.
And that's what you're doing, but outside Brazil, right? So you're positioning now as a CEO. And then how do you, because for us Brazilians, it's kind of it's easy for us to understand what is favela, what's favela mean when we talk about poverty, as you're saying. but how to translate all of that into an international market without the action, because we are from Brazil. For us, it's very easy, but your role now is more of a challenge in the sense that you have to explain what it is and then bringing those people together to get the chance for Gerando Falcões to change the situation from Brazil, but now with a support of a global landscape rather than just local.
Yes. My position today is to fundraise internationally to finance the projects in Brazil. So I run the international NGO that funds for the Brazilian NGO. Internationally, when you talk about Brazil, people think of carnival and football,
bikinis,
bikinis and beautiful people. Exactly. But the reality in Brazil is different.
Completely.
And poverty is no different in anywhere in the world. The poverty in Africa, poverty in Asia, poverty in South America. Poverty is poverty. And when we are talking about Gerando Falcões internationally, we make sure that people understand that it doesn't matter where you're helping. It matters the bodies, the human people.
I love that
you are helping. If you're helping an NGO in Africa, it's amazing. If you're doing it in Brazil, it's the same.
Because it's not about the favela, we talk about the humans.
Exactly. We're talking about the families, the children, the next generation. What we're going to do if we don't tackle the poverty problem? We are seeing now with AI and everything that is happening in the world, the gap between the city and the favela, the streets and the favela, the gap is widening. What are we doing to shorten this gap, to make it smaller, so we can bring these people out of poverty into a dignified life so they can participate in the world ahead? The world is moving so fast that if we don't tackle this problem, we will have millions and millions and millions of people completely out of what's happening in the world. And this is not good for anyone. It doesn't matter the country. And what I like about Brazil is that because we are in all these places, we can scale and we can reach more people and help them getting out of poverty and joining this new wave of technology, etc.
Because when we talk about technology and AI, we think that, everyone is going to have access to AI, but we just need to think that it's not everyone that has access to technology. And then we can go even, beyond that. It's not everyone that can afford to have a mobile phone. So it's just not make it like as a general thing that everyone needs to, to think about AI and then, do courses and focus on that, because there's a lot of things that needed to be changed, especially when it comes to people that they're not yet there even with a mobile phone. So how does Gerando Falcões can help with the basic in order to create those space that this generation, this family, they can be part of the new wave of technology?
This is interesting. When we did our charity dinner in Miami, I interviewed the head of Microsoft in Miami, because Gerando Falcões did a partnership with Microsoft to bring AI courses to the favelas for free for their residents. And it's an amazing project. And we were talking exactly about that. How can we teach AI if the people don't have education and everything else? Well, technology can help shorten this gap. You would need years of education to teach somebody some skills. And today, if you use the technology that we have and AI tools, you can teach them how to use that in their own benefit, to maybe replace some of the educational gap that they have and achieve professional skills, for example, that they would need in the future. We are seeing that we are doing tech hubs around the favelas where we bring those courses to the youngsters in the favelas. And we are seeing, well, first of all, as well as me, that Brazil is a very technological country.
Very creative as well.
Even though education is not available to everybody, and good education is definitely not reached by all of the residents. But in every favela, everybody has a mobile phone. If it's a good connection, not good connection, etc., is a different
It's a
thing.
different
But
thing.
everybody has a phone. Everybody is connected. The number of people that are in the internet is amazing. So instead of using that for social media, why not using that for educational reasons?
100%.
And that's where we are going. So Gerando Falcões is investing a lot in AI and tools to better the way we manage ourselves internally, but also to better the processes, etc., inside Gerando Falcões. But we are also looking into how we can apply that to the residents in the favelas to make them raise out of poverty in a quicker way and more long-standing, considering the future that is ahead.
I love that. And then I love the fact that Gerando Falcões and you guys are very like ahead of the game on thinking technology and thinking AI and thinking education and workshop, because it's not, again, you're the expert, but I don't think that is every nonprofit organization that is already, that everyone is in there already when we talk about technology. And then picking back in that, you work with a lot of brands, as you just mentioned about, we collaborate with Microsoft, and now we're doing a great project with them. There's a lot of brands, and then coming from a place where it's a market agency, we work with a lot of, brands, different industry, different categories. So every brand nowadays think about creating, a hub inside their corporation that they can create an impact, or they can be part of a movement. But brands more and more, for what I'm seeing from the eyes of having working on this on every day and marketing and guiding brands on how to create that purpose-led inside corporation. But it's all about not having the stamp, but actually do the talk and be the doer and then get it right, because consumer now, they can feel when a brand is actually supporting, for example, Gerando Falcões, if it's just like a one-off, if they're really interested in support a long term. What do you think the brands are doing right and wrong when it comes to having that purpose, philanthropy within their own business?
I think that brands sometimes make mistakes when they decide that they need to have an impact, but they use that as a marketing tool instead of a governance decision.
Mm-hmm.
When they have a governance decision, it's a different thing. They elect what the purpose is, what the project is, and they do a multi-year partnership with that project. It's a long-lasting partnership. It's not one-off.
Yeah.
They also involve their employees. The board is involved actively in that. They understand the project. They take risks together with the project. Not all projects, and this is something that maybe people don't understand outside of philanthropy. The projects fail. And we need to take some risks. And then you fail, you do it again. You fail, you do it again until you get it right. And brands need to understand that this happens in philanthropy, in projects. They also have local decisions and global decisions. Is your project long-lasting? What's the impact? Are you a global brand or a local brand? All these things impact. But the most important is the brands need to understand that they have to walk alongside the project and not feel just as a sponsor. I give my money and they do the project. No, I want to understand. I want to be part of it. How can I help? Are my employees involved? Do they understand? Is the board supportive or not? And definitely a 3 to 5 year project. No philanthropist would do less than that, because the results won't come in 6 months. Philanthropy doesn't work on a quarterly basis.
No,
you need a long-lasting project
exactly.
to show impact, to show results.
It's just embracing the cause, right?
Yes.
Rather than just
it's a corporate decision and a governance that elects to have that project that makes sense with the purpose of the brand.
And how you, as the international representative of Gerando Falcões, are educating brands and corporations in that sense.
So when I meet with the head of a new brand that will ask for sponsorship or support, etc., I don't like to do it over emails, for example. I like to have a call.
Face to face.
Yes, at least a video call or a present meeting with them to explain, to show. And I also invite them to come and see the project by themselves. If they are in Brazil or if they're traveling to Brazil, usually the brands that we talk are connected to Brazil somehow. And I invite them to come and see in real life what the project is about. To talk with the people that are living this day to day. What changed in their lives when Gerando Falcões arrived in a favela? Why is this important? What's the scale of it? What are the needs of Gerando Falcões, and what are the needs of the brand in terms of collaboration? And I think that this makes a huge difference for them to understand what the project is about.
And what, Tatiana, what you, as it's like putting aside the CEO role of Gerando Falcões, how do you define success in the position that you are right now? What makes you wake up in the morning and say, I'm doing this because of this, and that's just my purpose in life as a woman, as Tatiana? Like, what is this for you?
I think that success for me before was performance. If I performed well and I delivered well, I was successful. Now, at this time of my life, being a mother, etc., living all that I lived in different countries, I think that success today is the legacy that you leave behind for your children. I live my life thinking, am I doing the right thing? Am I using my skills the right way? Am I impacting who I can impact? Am I doing my part in the world? And that's what drives me.
And do you think, like, when you see yourself in 5-10 years, where do you want to see yourself?
I want to see myself expanding my influence in a positive way, bringing more people, helping more women getting there as well. This is an important thing, seeing the world change and seeing how technology can help us doing that for the less privileged.
Kindness and generosity, and again, it's a kind of bias for me to say because I know you very well as a friend. And I know how generous and kind you are with people that you know and people that you don't know. What kindness and generosity means to you?
I think kindness and generosity means connection. I think when you are kind and generous to somebody, even if you don't know them, you open a door to that person also being kind and generous. It doesn't happen always, but most of the time it does happen. If you come to a place and you prejudge people, you enter the room with a closed door. And everybody has something good to give at the end of the day. It's about opening that door for that goodness to come out.
100%. And if you could give one piece of advice for especially women that are trying to balance motherhood, career, success, or being in a space of fear, of unknown, what that piece of advice that would be?
Study a lot. Work hard, but don't lose yourself in that. And do what makes your heart beat.
I love that. And then to work, but not losing yourself into the work is just like a very...
It's the difficulty that we all have.
That we all have.
The balance that we all try to reach.
Yes, it's so true. Tati, again, you were truly inspiration for me. And I know you as a friend, I know as a partner, and we've been, working together. And thank you so much for the time, for being here. It's so good for using your voice to be in a space and podcast like that, where we can all learn from you, but you can use your voice to spread your knowledge, to spread your experience and inspire other women that, doesn't matter where you're coming from, if you're from privilege or not privilege, If you want something, it's all possible to achieve if you work hard, if you're kindness, and if you're generous. And I think you tick all the box. So thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. Edu Lira, the leader of Gerando Falcões in Brazil, learned something from his mother, and he repeats that over and over again. It doesn't matter where you come from, it matters where you're going to. And that's something that we should all live by. Thank you very much for having me, as a friend, as a partner. I admire you and everything that you have done in your life. And it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here. And I hope that this podcast help other people too.
I'm sure it will, because this is the purpose of Beyond Marketing, the podcast. Wow, what an episode. So hope everyone that's here today listening to us has been, inspired and motivated to, from everything that Tati talked about, philanthropy and the importance of sometimes just look around and see how can you use your voice and your power and your privilege or no privilege to help others, and understand that everything that we do can be something, doesn't matter if it's small or big. So if you're not following us yet, please make sure you do on YouTube, Amazon, Spotify, and Apple. And now we have our social media accounts for our Beyond Marketing podcast on Instagram and LinkedIn. Please make sure you follow us there to get all the news of new guests behind the scenes. And once again, thank you so much for all the support and for being with us. And I see you guys on our next episode. Thank you so much, Tati, again.
Thank you very much.